If you take the analogy of using a road, you use the road and it's your responsibility to make sure that you are safe on it. And I think this is really all about responsibility. It's putting the responsibility back into the hands of people who are using the internet. Facebook, for example, has 25 million users in the UK alone, 10 million people in Britain on Twitter. It would be impossible for those networks to take responsibility for everything that was said within them. So it's really about taking that responsibility and handing back to the people like you and I who are using the networks themselves. So yeah, I think it's very important. But
how easy is it for somebody like Facebook or other less well-known sites or forums to be able to identify the person who is the troll?
As far as I know, it's fairly easy. I mean, I think they basically have to work with the internet service provider to get hold of the IP address, but you definitely are not as unidentifiable as you might think that you are. For example, a lot of trolls don't use their real name, they don't use a real photograph, yeah, basically you are identifiable through your IP address, and I think that's the important thing to remember.
And I guess the difficulty is how to decide if someone is the victim of trolling or whether it's just opinions that are being expressed. Is there a danger here about freedom of speech being curtailed on the net?
Yep, that's perfectly possible, and I think, as I said, it will be really down to the victim to prove that there's a case that they are being bullied. And as for any kind of concerns about freedom of speech, I actually think it really strengthens that. At the moment, you can take issue with something that's been said about you on Facebook or Twitter or wherever. And you can contact them to ask them to take it down. Now, because the onus of responsibility is on them, more often than not, they will just take something down without question, without really understanding any context or any history of a conversation. And I think that's probably more damaging to free speech than the situation that we could have under this new legislation, which basically puts the responsibility with the user, as I said.